Connor, how's it going, man? Welcome back.
Yeah, long time no see. Finally, feel good enough to get back on here. It's been a while.
Yeah, you were down for the count for a bit there, but happy to have you back. I probably did 4 or 5 shows without you, so it'll be good to have you back. We'll ping some stuff off each other. It'll be a good show.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely not 100%, but again, good enough to pop on and do a show. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, welcome in everybody. Episode of the Irish Football Pod. Happy Friday night, maybe Saturday morning if you're watching this tomorrow. Today, Connor and I wanted to talk about keys to the spring for the Irish. There's just so much going on, player, coach movement. So we wanted to just go over a couple things that we think will happen in the spring and that the Irish need to do in the spring to have a successful start to this offseason.
mm-hmm.
First thing we wanted to talk about is portal depth. So, Connor, what do you think about the guys that we've got coming in?
Yeah, I think since Freeman's got there and he's went into the portal, he's went out and got the key positions that really needed to bolster the roster, in my opinion. Specifically, you look at this last playoff run, and you look at the Georgia game. You had multiple key transfers make really big plays in that game. Specifically, those were transfer portal guys, and those were players
Who
that
made the big plays? Jaden Harrison.
Yeah.
Kick return. Riley's run. Oben's strip sack.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Bo Collins with a touchdown catch right after the strip sack.
Yeah.
So, you're right. The transfers that we brought in last offseason, they paid. It was insane how much that paid off. Whatever we gave them, totally worth it, which is just awesome to see. And then you look at who we have coming in. You've got Will Pauling, Wisconsin Badgers receiver, Malachi Fields, receiver from Virginia, a D lineman from both USC and Louisville, the DB, Devontae Smith from Bama. Dude, so we had – who did we have? Who was the year – obviously we had Clark this year. Who did we have last year at nickel?
Thomas Harper.
Who was it? Thomas Harper. I think he came from Northwestern.
No, he was from Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, that's right. So, dude, that Devontae Smith, he's going to be a good nickel for us. He's going to come in and he's going to have a big impact. Obviously, a kid from Bama coming in, he's going to be able to play. I think he's going to be right on par with what Clark was, maybe even a little bit better. Then we've got the kicker from North Carolina. He's pretty good. And then another DB and a tight end. So all in all, I think they've reloaded pretty good. It looks like we've lost 2, 4, 6, 8. We've lost 9 players in the portal so far, but we've brought in 8. And, we'll see what happens after the spring. But I like that transfer portal class so far.
Yeah, I definitely trust the coaching staff. They do their due diligence and find the guys they want. They go after them, and if they can get them, they get them. And they know that they're going to bring production to the team regardless. So it's trust in the coaching staff because it's not like we're going and getting 20 guys in the portal. We can limit that number, but the small number of kids that we are bringing in are going to be contributors to the team one way or another. So,
yeah, no, and that's what I look forward to every year now with this. It's like you're getting guys that have maybe played 2, 3, 4 years of football, experienced dudes. It's just cool. And then, obviously for them, it's kind of like recruiting. You're still going to make sure it's a good culture fit. And that's what makes it interesting each year. You're bringing in guys that have played football. They've got experience. but they've also got to mend with the guys that are there too. I just think it's cool.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it comes back to the culture. Freeman's literally, in my opinion, built a top 3 culture in college football, and he's done that in a very short amount of time. So he goes out, and you can tell, again, by what was shown this past year, he gets the right guys for the program. Sometimes you're not sure if it's the right fit, and that's a challenge going into the portal. You're just never sure if it's gonna fully transform into what you want. Kind of like RJ Oben. He didn't have the best season, but he had his best. He played his best ball at the end of the year. So
when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's having a good training camp, it's looking like. Well, not training camp, but good like pro days, and like he's having good workouts like where he's at. So it's good to see. Like this transfer thing is perfect, segmenting into the next critical part of the spring that I think. And you have to point to the QB. Like we maybe even should have talked about that first, but the QB, obviously it looks like we are not going to the portal at this point. We're essentially, we've said just by not taking one at this point, we are not taking one.
Right.
So it's going to be a battle. So Angeli, Minchie, Carr. That's essentially the pecking order. It's going to be super interesting to see when these guys get into spring practice, how the reps are divvied up, who's flashing. Like if Carr just comes out and has the arm talent that we think he has, and just is taking control, like he could ascend. Minchie, he's been around now. It's going to be his 3rd spring, right? I think it's going to be his 3rd spring. So he's probably going to be looking to flash something as well. Like don't overlook me. And then it's just a matter of, can Steve hang on? Can Steve do enough to where it's like, okay, he's the most calm, cool, collected quarterback that we've got. He is very accurate with the ball. He's doing what he can to, show his escapability if we need that. So each quarterback, I think, has their own totally different individual goal to like make their presence known in the spring. So what do you think? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I don't know when the last time it happened, but we're actually going to have an authentic QB battle. And that's what a lot of fans have been asking for a long time. But that also goes hand in hand with developing within and letting that guy reach his max potential, right?
Yeah.
And in my opinion, ultimately, I think CJ Carr will get the job. I think he's got the highest ceiling. I think he is the best quarterback out of the quarterback room. And I think ultimately you want the best quarterback on the field. So I think he'll get the starting job. I do think it's going to be a battle. I think they all have good characteristics.
Isn't that crazy thinking about that? If CJ goes through the spring, summer, and fall and ends up being the starter that we take into Miami, that is going to be like, we haven't entered that level of territory since, I don't know, probably Golson maybe, where it was like, okay, like we're really putting a true freshman, redshirt freshman out there with very limited experience. Like I think when Ian came in, he was probably there for a couple years, I think. But if this happens with CJ, he's only been there for a year. So
and I look back to the spring game too. CJ looked like one of the best QBs in that spring game, even though we didn't see Riley in that game. But CJ, I mean, there's a minute and a half highlight reel of that spring game, and he's throwing the rock, man. He's throwing nice fade routes. He's throwing little sideline routes. Like he was throwing them all.
Yeah. He definitely is a gamer, and kind of how you open this segment up. I'm just excited that we are going into this thing with a full-blown QB battle. Like, this is we took a portal guy. Everybody knows what we paid him. He's starting. It's just not the case. Like, we are having a full-blown battle between essentially three guys. So it's just going to be cool to see how that plays out. But the key to the spring, they got to get that right, because the first 2 games of the year, I mean, man,
The big ones.
They're big ones. They are the biggest of the season, essentially. Like, we don't know how all the teams are going to be, but yes, when you're heading into Miami on a road game, Labor Day weekend, and game number one, the quarterback situation, however they make it happen, whatever they choose, whatever route they pick, they got to get it right. So we'll see what happens. You and I both know that is not a easy place to play. Like, dude, when those Miami fans get cranking and they're 0-0. When we saw them in 2017, they were undefeated or one loss, whatever it was. When those fans are into it and that stadium is packed, because it doesn't happen week to week when they're kind of not that good, it's kind of nuts in there. It's like a beehive. It was nuts. Like Brandon Wimbush and Ian, they struggled in that. So this QB is going to be a heck of an environment.
It's going to be buzzing in there. Definitely.
It's going to be buzzing.
It's going to be sold out, one, because it's the first game. Well, I don't know if they would sell out if it was any other team, but because Notre Dame's their first game, it's 100% going to be sold out.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
But it's a hostile environment. 2017 proved that. It was not fun to be at that game. But, I'm looking for revenge. I got revenge in that stadium at the Orange Bowl. I was able to witness that one live, but I need revenge on the Hurricanes.
Yeah, and we'll get some revenge on them for sure.
Yes.
All right. So far, keys of the spring: portal depth, developing the new guys that are coming in. We've got QB. We have to get that right. We've also got a lot of stuff going on with the coaching staff. Okay, we've got our new DC. Connor, you haven't been on the show this week. Obviously, Ash ascended to the top as a candidate. We're bringing him in. Thoughts on Chris Ash? What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, kind of goes to the key, and that was one of them was retain as much of the coaching staff as you can. You're going to lose some. Happens pretty much every year to every team. But for Ash, I'm seeing conflicted reports on it. The research I've done shows that he's a really good recruiter, and he really is a good coach in game. A lot of people are just looking at his most recent jobs, and if you look at him closely, he wasn't ever going to make huge changes in those positions that he was in, especially for the teams that he was working for. The Jaguars, the Rutgers head coach thing, the Raiders. Those are organizations that aren't really in the best spot. So no one coach was really going to change much there.
Yeah.
But I've heard he's a good recruiter for DBs and linebackers, and I'm just hoping, he's able to, keep that defense as tight-knit as it is. That's one thing we can't do to maintain this momentum we have. We cannot let that grip, get undone. We gotta keep it tight.
Yeah, there's a lot of cohesion and togetherness on this team in general, but on this defense, like the defense being the strength of this past season, we got to do whatever we can to keep that going. My genuine thoughts are, especially if Mickens stays, hey, Mike, we're not quite ready to put you in this role yet. Chris Ash is going to come here. He's going to be the DC. It's going to be really interesting if they're or not, DC or just – but they probably were like, Mike, look, we're bringing in this guy. We don't think you're quite ready yet, but it's coming. Chances are, if Ash isn't there very long, this is basically Mike's ramp up to that job. So I think it's super important that we're going to keep Mickens. It looks like we're going to keep him. That's great. And, looking at Chris Ash's history too, a lot of safety stuff. So if he's really good with safeties, Mike Mickens has got the cornerback stuff on lock. I mean, dude, it is so interesting. We complained and just berated this team for their defensive back play basically our whole lives up until the past, 3-4 years, when BMO got there.
Yeah.
That's it, though. It really went elite as soon as BMO was a freshman. So that started it, man. We recruited Christian Gray. We recruited Leonard Moore. Adon Schuler, like
We got Cree
we're also
Thomas coming in, Dallas Golden. I mean, we got
Dallas
studs
Golden.
on the way.
Kids are coming, dude. That it's so nice having that though, and that's why we've been able to have the defensive success that we have. When you can lock down like receivers like that, you can just let the D line and linebackers eat, and that's what these top teams do. You got to have talent on the outsides. Just freaking awesome that we're seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, so Chris Ash coming in. What else we got? Coaching wise.
Not really sure coaching wise. I've seen Mickens with Freeman though the whole time, so I don't think Mickens is going anywhere.
Mickens has been on the trail. He's been out there with Freeman a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Denbrock too. It's gonna be a big off season for him. I think he did pretty good with what he had, like coming in here. We'll just have to see, man. As we ramp this off season up, it's just gonna be crazy thinking about how big these first two games are and how many, I don't want to say question marks about the team are, but man, there's just going to be a lot of different stuff going on. New QB, new defensive coordinator, just, Denbrock's second year. Now he's got a QB in there that, maybe can, I don't know. They're just a lot different, but a lot the same.
One of the biggest reasons that me and all of us love college football is because of how different it is every year. You look at Ohio State, they just had one of the best defenses with Jim Knowles, and then he leaves to a Big Ten rival the next year. So it's like they're going through the same thing as a championship winner. Every year's different. Every year's different.
They lost their DC.
And they're going to have a new QB as well. They're not going to have Will Howard. So
Yep.
It's just interesting. That's just one of the main reasons I love college football is because every year is so different. Expectations for us are always the same as Notre Dame fans, but you just got to keep that continuity that you have right now. That's what you just can't afford to lose that. We've mentioned it on previous shows, but you just have to keep that momentum however you can. But
we didn't come this far to not keep excelling. Like, we just want to be elite so bad. I just want to be a top 4, 5, 6, 7 team every single year, sprinkled in with either a title or a deep playoff run. As long as we're in that top 4, 5, 6, 7 every year, that's all we can ask for. At that point, you are elite. Georgia doesn't win it every year. Bama doesn't win it every year, but where are they usually at? Ohio State too. They're top 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the country every single year in and year out.
Yep.
So we've shown that, dude, Freeman can get it done. Now, can we sustain it and really become elite? So it's gonna be cool. GM wise, obviously we know Chad Bowden went to USC, straight to the rival. It's fine. Good recruiter for us. Did some great things. Now Blanchard from Texas Tech. Like, I know you texted me earlier and I said Irish was kind of trending up and looking like he's probably going to come.
Yeah, Texas Tech is doing everything they can.
That's what I read.
I'm not sure they're going to be able to.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
credit
to Texas Tech. They have, and credit to what's his name again?
Blanchard.
Yeah, Blanchard. He did a lot of good things since he got to Texas Tech, and if he comes to Notre Dame, I think that's a grand slam hire, in my opinion. He was able to get Texas Tech's first 5-star ever. Was that Micah Hudson, one of their receivers, I think?
Was it?
Yeah. If we are able to get him, I think it's an upgrade from Chad, and then he'll also bring, I'm sure, some of his staff with him too. So you got to think that department would take a nice step forward. which would help obviously start getting those top recruits that maybe we missed on. Maybe Branchard can get some of those guys that Chad wasn't able to secure at the last moments of the cycle, recruiting cycle.
For me, dude, it's like if we were getting a top 5 recruiting class, or consistently like top 8, 9, 10. I mean, we kind of slipped a little bit. So it'll just be like a boost of good energy. I don't think that Notre Dame's ever going to be below where they're at currently. Like I think we finished 11th or 12th last year. So
we've got to be top 10 at least every year.
Yeah, we have not hit our ceiling in recruiting. So Freeman does that. Blanchard does that. If we can get them, man, that's when we might be able to start closing the gap on these elite 5-star guys.
Yeah,
that are going to make the difference in the big games. So, yeah, man, if we can pull it off and lure him away from Texas Tech, it'd be awesome. One thing that I thought about, though, a guy like that, or any of these guys in GM positions, is it a negative that the standards are what they are at Notre Dame in terms of that job? Like, I feel like no matter what, Notre Dame compared to any other university, it's going to be harder. You're going to have more limited guys, 5-star elite talent that you can go after because some guys just aren't going to be able to either make the grades, make the test scores, or they just don't want to deal with that rigorous, grind of academics, which is, it's just something that comes into play with that job. So my thoughts are, does that hurt us at all when trying to go get one of these GMs?
Yeah, it definitely
is a factor.
It's definitely a factor. But you got to think there's a couple more pros on Notre Dame's side. You're going to be working for a team that's going to be getting to the playoffs regularly. That's a big benefit. The brand is that much bigger, obviously. And it's just more of a top tier job when you look at it from a holistic view. It's Texas Tech football or Notre Dame football. To us, it's an easy pick, but it's Freeman's got to make that. Freeman's got to show him that, and I think he's on a scheduled trip up there. I don't know if he took it already or if he's going soon, but
Blanchard.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that he met up with Freeman and the team, or not the team, but some of the coaching staff in Mobile at like the Reese's Senior Bowl game and stuff.
Yes. Yep.
So, because Freeman was in Carolina. Like Freeman, I don't know if Freeman's going to be back in South Bend for a bit, but it was good that at least they got together in person in Mobile. And we'll just kind of see, dude. But, man, this guy's got cut-off sleeves on, like, a hoodie, drawstrings on it. Like, the vibe is, like, totally different from Chad Bowden, who's, like, dressing up like a leprechaun sometimes. And totally different approach, man. Like, I don't know. It's just going to be – I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But if we get him, be fired up. Be super fired up. Because if not, like, obviously he's our plan A. Like, who's plan B? I haven't even heard anybody else. So
yeah, there's that guy from North Carolina I've heard too, who's a top tier candidate as well. So we'll get someone.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Another thing you wanted to touch on was maybe keeping the staff intact, which I think at this point, unless somebody late comes for like Dylan McCullough or Mickens, I don't know. I'm surprised at how quiet it's been for Dylan.
For who?
For Dylan McCullough.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's still putting in work on the recruiting show for us, so great to see.
So, we hold this core of guys together. It's going to be another special year. We just, man, looking back at this season, we just had young guys making plays all over the field. course, we're going to miss people like Riley, both Rileys, Howard, Kaiser. But, man, Schuler, Leonard Moore, Christian Gray. Dude, all of our running backs are back.
Logan Thomas had a good year.
Yeah, man. We had playmakers all over the field this year that were young, and they're going to be back. It's just an exciting time for Notre Dame football.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad all those kids, not just because of the injury that they were getting reps, but they were getting reps because of how good they are. And we didn't have to wait till their junior, senior year to see them get on the field. That's one of my key takeaways from the Freeman era, is that we're seeing these kids early and they're good enough to be making huge plays at huge moments of the game. Like that Louisville game, bro, when Shutt took that little QB draw and was running up the field. Leonard Moore, boom, hit that ball out.
Knocked that thing out.
Recovery. Oh, man, awesome.
Changed the whole momentum right there, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, these young guys, it was so fun watching them. So it's going to be cool. See how this first part of the year shakes out, dude. We're already to February. Tomorrow's February 1st. Spring game's coming. Let's get these coaches locked in. Let's get our GM, and let's keep this thing rolling. But, yeah, man, so just to recap, keys to spring, portal depth, develop the new guys that are coming in. Got to get the QB thing right. Whichever one of these guys on the roster is going to take the leap and take this job and grab it, we just got to hope it's the right guy. New coaches, new GM. Outside of that, keep everything intact. We got a new DC, Chris Ash. Looks like we're keeping Mickens. Figure out this GM thing, but primarily it looks like we're going to keep most of the staff together, which is freaking awesome to see. It's just hard to do that nowadays when these coaches, especially when you have a good year, everybody's going to be looking at your coaches because why'd you have a good year? You got a good staff, you know? So, dude, anything else on the way out?
Not really. Just like how I always end it, man. Just stay positive and just trust Marcus Freeman. That's all that comes to mind. I know he's got the blueprint, so just stick to the script, man.
Stick to the script. Let's reel in some recruits this week, and just keep this thing going.
Just hearing some good buzz though about that junior day. I'll tell you what. And I'm hearing the coaching staffs are really impressing kids on their visits to the high schools or to the recruits' homes. They're really knocking some visits out of the park here recently. So.
Yeah, and I've been seeing the kids posting the pictures with the coaches and stuff. They're hitting it really hard. Like there was no break. We played a title game, and we're back to it. I'm hearing
specifically too some really top D-line prospects for 26 as well. Al Washington's got some high guys on the radar. So,
hey, that's what we need. We need D-line, boys.
Yep.
All right, man. Good stuff, man. Well, good show. Welcome back. It's definitely much more fun and just better to ping ideas off each other when you're here. So, man, as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe. We can't thank you enough for all the activity on the videos. We're going to keep bringing it to you. It's February 1st tomorrow. We got 6 months till the season. We're going to keep going with this. We love it. We love talking about Notre Dame football. Hit us up on X. Both of our Twitters are at the banner down low. So follow us on there. If you want to throw us a question or just talk anything Notre Dame football-wise, hit us up on there and we can chat. Anyways, man, welcome back. Looking forward to doing a couple shows this weekend, and we'll talk to you all later. Go Irish.
Go Irish.